folks, we're back with another feedback episode. In these episodes, we take a look at the YouTube comments from our previous episodes and we give feedback to you. So for this episode, we're focusing on Ted Nugent. Damien Karras, who comments on a lot of our stuff, thanks Damien, states, you should do Rush next, which we did. I know your favorite is not 2112 or Moving Pictures, which are the two obvious favorites and biggest sellers. A lot of people go Hemispheres, Permanent Waves, or Farewell to Kings. My favorite is Signals, as I suspect yours may be as well. Eddie Trunk is doing his next top 20 on Rush next week, so it's really good timing too. So less about Ted Nugent and more about Rush, but maybe we'll edit this into that.
That's cool, but I'm glad that happened, right? So that we did do Rush. So yeah, keep the suggestions coming. We love the suggestions. We'll definitely take them into account.
Cool. B-Ball 1518 says, what about Intensities in 10 Cities? That's Ted's last great album. Love State of Shock, my second favorite Ted album. My favorite is Double Live Gonzo.
Okay, this comment drives me crazy because I don't know what people like about Intensities in 10 Cities. I almost make it my rule to go back to that record every couple of years and try to play it and try to like it, and I can't find any songs on that record that I like. It's a really cool idea. I love the title. I love the idea that he made a live album of all originals. That was bizarre. But like songs that aren't on any previous albums, right?
Oh, cool.
But I really don't like any of the songs on it. You know, it should have been good, and I definitely know people that like it. But I almost get into fisticuffs with them in terms of like, okay, go back and play that record, and I defy you to find me the good songs on it, and I can't find the good songs on it. Double Live Gonzo, on the other hand, is just a great album full of Ted's hits, and it's amazing. And, you know, you get the classic stage raps and everything, you know. I mean, that's the one that has the rap about Nashville Pussy on it. And Nashville Pussy went and named their band after that rap off of that album, which is so cool. I love that band. Right. So yeah, that's a great album. State of Shock, yeah, I mean, it was a contrarian choice. And, you know, this brings up a good point. I get a lot of comments on my Facebook page as well as we get here. I mean, I get, you know, once I post one of these again on my Facebook page every once in a while, people start chiming in, and yeah, State of Shock is in for a lot of abuse, that's for sure.
Yeah. And could a live album be a band's best album?
It could, but I don't like live albums very much, and we've kind of ruled them out of what we're doing here at the Contrarians because we want to talk more about the songwriting and the songs and the creativity, and that's what I always feel about live albums. I mean, definitely, obviously, in our Kiss discussion, we could have talked about Kiss Alive.
Right.
You know, you could talk about, I mean, the great classic 70s live albums are what? Strangers in the Night, Unleashed in the East, Live and Dangerous, On Your Feet or On Your Knees, Kiss Alive 2 for that matter. So there was a classic time of these. Foghat Live is actually Foghat's greatest selling album, believe it or not. So Pat Travers Live, you know, it's classic. Alive. Exactly. I mean, that one is so far outstrips all the studio albums, right? So basically, yes and no, because I mean, I personally have a big bias against live albums. I really don't care about them at all.
Yeah, and they're more like compilation albums than studio-produced albums, right?
It drives me crazy when people say, oh, their greatest album was their greatest hits album. It's like, it's not an album.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm messing your name up, but Tagbo Muanadi says, I love the first 7 albums Ted did with Epic in the 70s and 1980. In fact, Scream Dream was the first Ted LP I got back in the August of that year. But for me, State of Shock has always been the weakest of the 7, even back then. It's one of those albums, though, that when the song is good, it's easily the equal of anything that had come before, after, and sometimes better. I liked Paralyze, It Doesn't Matter, and Snake Charmer, and the immense Bite Down Hard and Saddle Sore. They stand up to the best of the tracks on his other albums of the period, and I'm still happy to listen to Ted's stuff from then. I've never really thought about the production, which is probably why I like Weekend Warriors. It's all about the songs for me. Like most of his contemporaries, be it the guys from Cream, Zeppelin, Sabbath, AC/DC, Motorhead, Purple, etc., I can understand why he has a downer on being described as heavy metal. Unfortunately, when he was developing his style and songs, musicians had a wider head and circle of influence, unlike later when people had grown up liking heavy metal and said that when they wanted to play heavy metal, but Ted was a heavy rocker and writer, and a fantastic one at that. I enjoyed the video, but then Martin is quite the most stimulating heavy rock writer that I've read, and not just once but many times, including his book on Ted, a must read, more informative than the Robert Holland one. I like that one. I like that one can fundamentally mentally disagree with his conclusions while still getting so much out of what he has to say.
Yeah, there's a lot there, and thank you for that. That was very nice of you. But yeah, I know I do tend to have the idea of production mar what I think of certain albums. And that being said, State of Shock does not have great production, but I really chafe against the Cat Scratch Fever and Weekend Warriors production. I don't like them very much at all, and they really mar my liking those albums a whole heck of a lot. I mean, I loved them at the time when they came out, and they're still great albums. But it's funny, you know. He says, "State of Shock not great," and then he mentions like 5 of the songs off of it as being as great as anything Ted ever did. So that's really cool. And I like the idea, as I probably argued in the thing, that even the songs that aren't so great on it, it just feels like it's part of a concept there. And the concept is, I'm angry, I'm going through a divorce, it's 1979, there's no hard rock around, I'm just going to rock out.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And Chris Teague, who's another great commenter, thanks Chris. The first time I saw Ted was on this tour at the massive Canadian World Music at the CNE. So I have fond memories of State of Shock. However, taking this out of the equation and looking at the track listing, it just doesn't match a number of other Nuge albums. Ted Nugent, Free For All, Cat Scratch, Weekend Warrior, Scream Dream, Caveman, and Shut Up and Jam all simply have better tracks on them. But hey, it's not like State of Shock was a disaster, it just isn't as good in my opinion.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm glad he mentioned 2 of the later albums because, as I said in that episode, I love those 3. The latest one. The very latest one is too short and too kind of jokey. I'm not happy with it. But Shut Up and Jam, Caveman, and Love Grenade, I love those, and I get in a lot of arguments about really thinking those albums are great, and I just think they are. And I would put if I had to put up something against Scream Dream, I would definitely skip Weekend Warriors and skip Cat Scratch Fever and go straight to Free For All as probably the other one that I would think is close. Free For All was the first time I ever saw Ted Nugent. I probably mentioned this in the thing, but that was amazing. I saw that tour, and that's full of great songs. People really are not happy with the whole why the heck is Meatloaf singing on some of these songs, and it does sound bizarre to hear Meatloaf sing on that record. Mm-hmm. But so you got Meatloaf, you got Derek St. Holmes, and you got Ted splitting the vocals across that record, which is crazy. Yeah, that's a cool album. But no, I'll still stand by State of Shock.
Cool. Yeah. All right, and that's it for this episode. Thanks, folks. Thanks for commenting.
Thanks for the comments.
We'll see you in the next video.